Hello and welcome back to Totally Abstracted. This week I want to talk about something that's been sitting with me and something I've been circling around for a while now, trying to understand. And it's basically what happens when your work stops being beautiful. For a long time, my abstract landscapes were described as calm, atmospheric, soothing. They created space. They felt expansive and quiet. People connected with them because they offered somewhere to rest, and I loved that, and I still do. There's something deeply powerful about creating work that allows someone to breathe. When someone told me my paintings helped them feel grounded or that they brought peace to a room, I felt I was doing something meaningful, that I was creating refuge, and that mattered. But recently, the work I've been making feels very different. The faces I've been painting don't soothe. They don't create distance or atmosphere in that sense. They feel close, direct, sometimes unsettling. They hold a gaze. They don't just sit there waiting to be looked at, I guess. They look back. And that shift has made me think about the difference between beautiful and true. Beauty is often easy to receive. It harmonizes us. It settles the nervous system. It fits comfortably into a space, physically on a wall, and emotionally in our experience of it. We know how to be around beautiful things. We know what to do with them, and we can relax into them. But truth, at least I think the kind that comes through art, doesn't always behave like that. Sometimes truth activates and unsettles. It makes people lean back rather than lean in. It can feel disruptive rather than decorative, and it doesn't necessarily make you feel good, but it might make you feel something more important than good. So I guess I'm wondering what happens when your work shifts from one to the other. What happens when the thing you've been known for, the quality people actually seek out in your work, starts to change or even disappear? I think there's this tension many of us carry as creatives. Do we make what is liked, or do we make what feels urgent to us in that moment? When your work has been appreciated for its beauty, there's an unspoken expectation maybe to continue offering that and to stay in that lane, to keep producing what people recognise and feel safe with. Maybe like an invisible contract that forms between you and your audience. They come to expect a certain experience, and you become the person who provides it. And this is complicated. It's not necessarily bad. There's real value in consistency, in developing a recognisable voice, in building trust with the people who connect with your work. But what happens when what you need to make and what people expect from you starts pulling in different directions? Art isn't only allowed to soothe, it's also allowed to disturb. It's allowed to question. It's allowed to bring things closer rather than push them into the distance. It's allowed really to make demands and to refuse to be passive. So I've been asking myself, is beauty always the goal? Or is it the most marketable one? Or the most shareable? Or the easiest to explain? Because let's be honest, beautiful work moves through the world more easily. It photographs well. It's less likely to be questioned or challenged. It creates fewer awkward moments when someone asks what you do and you show them your portfolio. Beautiful work as a social currency in a way that difficult work doesn't always have. And there's nothing wrong with beauty. It's not shallow. It's not lesser. Creating something genuinely beautiful is a gift. It's a skill. It's a form of generosity. But it isn't the only measure of value. Some work exists to calm the nervous system. Other work exists to wake it up. One creates space. The other creates presence, and both are valid and both are needed. And sometimes, I guess, discomfort is a sign that something is alive. When a piece of work provokes a reaction, even a negative one, it tells you it's landing somewhere real. It's touching something. It's not neutral. And neutrality, while safe, isn't always the most honest place to create from. Think about the art that stayed with you over the years. Often it's not the prettiest work. It's the work that got under your skin, the work that bothered you or challenged you or refused to let you look away. So this isn't about rejecting beauty. I think it's about expanding what art is allowed to be, both atmosphere and confrontation, both calm and charge. It's about recognising that we can contain multitudes as an artist, and our work can too. So I'm learning you don't have to choose between making beautiful work and making honest work. But you do have to be willing to let go of beauty as the primary criterion for success. You have to be willing to make work that might not be liked, might not be understood, might not fit neatly into the narrative people have built around your practice. If you're listening and you felt this shift in your own work, maybe what you're making no longer fits neatly into what people expect from you, maybe you're getting fewer enthusiastic responses, and maybe you're questioning whether you've lost your touch. I want you to know that it doesn't mean you've lost your way. It might mean you're moving closer to something truer. It might mean you're outgrowing a version of yourself that was never quite complete. Every creative eventually reaches this tension point, the moment where what's liked and what feels urgent are not quite the same thing. And that's where the real decisions begin. That's where you find out what kind of artist you want to be. Not the artist who maintains a brand or protects an aesthetic, but the artist who follows the work wherever it needs to go. When your work stops being beautiful in the way it used to be, maybe it's not becoming worse, maybe it's becoming braver, maybe it's becoming more honest, and maybe it's asking more of you and more of the person standing in front of it. It might be finally saying what needs to be said instead of what's easiest to hear. So art doesn't have to decorate a room. Sometimes it needs to disrupt. Sometimes it needs to create friction. And sometimes the kindest thing art can do is refuse to make us comfortable. And maybe the most important question is not whether is this beautiful, but is this alive? Does it have a pulse? Does it carry weight, and does it matter? These are harder questions to answer because they can't be measured by likes or sales or compliments. But they're the questions that keep you making work that matters, to you first, and maybe if you're lucky, to others as well. So if your work is changing, if it's becoming something you don't quite recognise yet, trust that. Trust the discomfort. Trust that growth doesn't always feel good while it's happening. And trust that the people who need to connect with this new work will find it, even if they're not the same people who connected with what came before. Thank you for listening. As always, keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep things totally abstracted.